Sturgis.
Everything looks good on my end. You ready to see if this thing actually works?
I have some things to do first.
Yeah, that's cool.
Uh-huh.
Maybe constantly trying to kill
Heads
us,
up.
but
Yes, human?
who else never lacks for excitement?
Got a second, big guy?
Here, eat meat before it spoils.
I think it's best.
Human not once.
Uh-huh.
Got work to do. Can't talk now.
Nothing stays hidden forever.
Everything looks good on my end. You ready to see if this thing actually works?
Let's do this.
You sure? Okay. Your part is simple. Just step onto the platform. I'll start scanning for an Institute signal to lock onto. Then, I fire her up and we see what happens. Whenever you're ready. Okay, hold real still. I don't want any corruption of the molecular beam. Oh yeah, by the way, I figured this was a golden opportunity to find out as much as we can about the Institute and what they're up to. Yeah, this holotape's all set with a program that will scan their network and download anything it finds. Uh-oh. Yeah, we better hurry. And don't worry about that tubing wiggling around. It's, just there for decoration. Okay. Scanning for the Institute signal. Tracking RF. And... got it. Hold on to your butt.
wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I am known as Father. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator. I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression. Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do. For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival. Decades of research, countless experiments and trials, a shared vision of how science can help shape the future. It has never been easy, and our actions are often misinterpreted by those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Sean?
Huh? Yes, I'm Sean.
Sean? Is that really you?
Who are you?
Sean, it's me. I'm your dad.
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Sean, are you okay? You're not hurt, are you?
What's going on? Father? Father!
Shh, shh. It'll be okay, Sean.
I don't know you. Go...
Sean, please.
Father? Father? Father, help me!
Sean. S923, recall code Cirrus. Fascinating, but disappointing. The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated. He's a prototype, you understand. We're only just now beginning to explore the effects of Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional, and that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
Father? That's your name? Your title?
Father is my unofficial title. It's what I've come to mean to the people of the Institute, just as you mean to your son, to Sean.
Just... help me understand what's going on here.
I promised answers, and answers you shall have. But I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, Your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you. After all this time. It's me. I am Shaun. I am your son.
It's really you? After all this time?
Yes. It's true. In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your pod and went searching for the sun you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality, and here I am. Raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
They stole you. Kidnapped you. Wasn't right.
Right, wrong, irrelevant. It was necessary. The Institute believed humanity's future depended on it. At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate, capable of anything.
Human synths? Really?
Human-like synths. A great distinction. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone. Even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
"60 years. So much time. Wasted.
I know. I know you must have questions. Please. Anything I can do to help you understand.
Your mother. She never got to see you grow up?
Yes. What happened to her was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems her death was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage.
Shaun, she loved you. So much.
I have no doubt. I'm afraid I have very little experience with those emotions, having lived my life within the Institute. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were. I accepted my situation, and that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Kellogg, he worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
He was a murderer. He killed your mother.
Believe me, I am well aware of the atrocities Kellogg committed. I suspect there are many more we'll never know of. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. I will freely admit that. Institute technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty became more apparent with every completed objective. I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge. What else can I say to ease your mind?
So you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future, no matter what those above ground might think of us.
But, Director? Why you?
I was the most qualified for the position. Obviously. I've lived my life within these walls, dedicated to science like every other member of the Institute. My hard work has paid off. Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of that. Just give me time. I know there's more for us to discuss. But the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've been a part of something amazing here. I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
Yes, that's what I want.
I know. I know you've been through so much. Forgive me. There is much to be done. You'll need time to acclimate yourself, a chance to become acquainted with our procedures.
Is all that really necessary? What's there to learn?
For now, it is enough that you understand that the Institute really is devoted to the betterment of humanity. The Institute is now your home, as much as it is mine. Please take some time, get to know it. Meet the people you'll be working with. You'll want to introduce yourself to the division heads. Dr. Fillmore in Facilities, Dr. Ayo in SRB, Dr. Holdren in Bioscience, and finally Dr. Lee in Advanced Systems. They've all been notified of your arrival, of course. Meet them, and then we'll discuss what comes next.
Sean, about this synth.
You mean the child? It's a fascinating project, really. There are issues to be solved, of course, but we've made remarkable progress.
Why build it to look like you?
We'd advanced the technology behind synths to a point where this struck me as an interesting variation. A new angle, if you will. Modeling it after myself seemed only natural, what with the Institute's records on my genetics and physiology. I'll make sure it's brought back online in the near future. You'll have an opportunity to interact with him further. But I'll admit I'm curious. As a parent looking for a child, looking for the younger version, do you think you could love him?
I don't need a synth.
Yes, but not the Sean you were looking for. In some ways, the synth is far... I wouldn't claim to know everything you're feeling, but if in some small way the boy's presence can help, I hope you'll keep an open mind.
It's an honor to have you here, sir.
Almost done. Just need to tighten up this primary drive servo.
Doctor.
That's the third primary drive breakdown this month. As far as I'm concerned, the phase-out on these older models can't come soon enough.
Oh, I don't know. Most of them have lasted long past their projected lifespans. If you ask me, they were built pretty well.
I can't...
Hi, Doc.
Here we go.
They weren't kidding.
All set.
You really
Unit,
are
you
here.
can return to duty.
Well, all right. I'm Allie Fillmore. You can think of me as the Institute's chief engineer. When Father told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much, I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind my asking, what was it that kept you going all that time?
I just wanted to find my son and keep him safe.
Now that you've found him, I hope you're proud of the great man he grew up to be. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the facilities division, and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important. So, now that you're here and you've spoken to Father, does that mean you're on board?
On board with what?
The Institute, of course. Sean implied you operated on a level, if not equal, then at least similar to the rest of us. Curious. If there's anything else you'd like to know about the Facilities Division, I'm happy to discuss.
Right. I'm good for now. Thanks.
Goodbye, then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks again.
Of course.
Nothing to report, sir. Greetings. As the Institute's requisition vendor, I can provide supplies for your missions on the surface. How may I assist you today?
I'll take a look, sure. Hi.
Welcome. Do you require additional supplies?
Let's see what you got.
It must make you proud to see all that Father has done, all that he has built.
We're all looking forward to working with you.
You know the protocol, sir. Authorized personnel only.
So Dr. Ayo thinks he can hide in his office, does he? Well, you can tell him that I intend to speak to Father about these unannounced security sweeps of yours. Ransacking my quarters.
I'm seriously thinking of heading over to robotics to knock some heads together.
What now?
It's an honor to meet you,
on the
sir.
targeting package upgrades I asked for. Maybe I should take some courses with me. You know, send a message.
Please don't.
Good to see you.
There's enough friction as it is between us and pretty much all the other departments.
You going soft on me, Alana? My methods get results, and they will this time as well.
Hey, Doc.
So, here you are. Justin Ayo, Acting Director of the Synth Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
No problems here.
Good to hear. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the Synth Retention Bureau. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
Why would synths want to escape?
Synths do not want. They might look like human beings, but they're machines. As to why they're escaping? That matter is currently under investigation. Our main instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless. But I gather you know all this, since you've encountered one already. In fact, I'd very much like to know how you defeated it.
I'm no stranger to combat.
Even so, a Courser should be more than a match for any single combatant. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
You mentioned that coursers undergo special training. Tell me more about it.
The SRB constantly monitors our Gen 3 synth population, looking for specific traits. Those who show tenacity, fearlessness, and independence undergo a rigorous training regimen. We teach them armed and unarmed combat, investigative techniques, psychology, and mechanical skills. Those who pass a final evaluation become coursers. The rest have their memories wiped.
All systems nominal. Reporting status. All functions normal.
We are honored to welcome you here.
When are you going to tell me about this mysterious Phase 3?
You know I can't talk about that.
She's been at it for over 2 hours. What is she even testing?
Nothing. At this point, she's just doing it for fun.
Excuse me, Doctor?
Ah, it's you. You're here then. Yes, I know who you are. We all do. While I'm sure Father is very happy that you're here, I do hope it doesn't interrupt our work.
Well,
Don't worry. I promise I won't get in your way.
Thank you, I do appreciate that. Oh, before I forget, let me see that Pip-Boy of yours. I've been told to install a Courser chip in it for you. Father's orders. You're to be given full access, with the ability to relay in and out of the Institute at will.
Thank you. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Given that the relay is the only way to access the Institute, handy is something of an understatement. In case the significance is lost on you, you'll be the only one here with that kind of access. If nothing else, it should demonstrate the amount of trust Father has placed in you. Now, unless there's something else, I really do need to get back to work.
I'm good for now. Thanks.
All right.